Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Daniel Hood Roofing. When it comes to star rankings and an A-plus grades and being one of the top 100 in the country, we're not just talking about recruiting. Daniel Hood Roofing has made so many top roofing company lists across the country, the list's too long to mention. See for yourself. Visit danielhoodroofing.com to see all the blue check marks, all of the seals of approval, all of the certificates of appreciation, et cetera, and all the testimonials from your neighbors here in East Tennessee who've trusted Daniel Hood Roofing to repair their roof or put a new roof on. DanielHoodRoofing.com to learn more. They've got operators standing by today, as a matter of fact, if you want to call them. And by the way, before we get into this, I do want to credit Josh. I interpreted his answer as different from mine. It was kind of in the same ballpark. So the two of us were right, the three of them were wrong. All right. Tennessee native Tyreke Key will be transferring to Rick Barnes' basketball program. That came out yesterday. He was from Indiana State. 6'3" guard, averaged 17 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists per game at Larry Bird's old school 2 years ago. Last year he was out after shoulder surgery, didn't play last year. Once the Vols lost, LSU transfer Brandon Murray to Georgetown, who they were really high on Murray, but he picked Georgetown. It became imperative that they grab Key. Everyone looked at it and said Key is the top guy, and they got him. Here's where things stand in the portal as we look at it today. Kennedy Chandler, he portaled to the NBA actually, but you've had 4 guys leave, 1 guy in. I think you've still got, 3 open slots, 3 scholarships remaining, I believe, considering all the other recruits coming in, et cetera, all the other graduates in and out. But you got 3 bodies to deal with. Thoughts on Tyreke Key, getting the guard, important. There's some other guys that they're still looking at, a kid that played at St. Louis in the portal. But when you look around the nation, I saw The Athletic did a list of the top 23 transfers who've committed already. 9 of them were coming into SEC schools. Would Tyreke Key be on that list now? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But thoughts on landing this guy? You need bodies at this point, and at least you got one you were trying to get. Vince?
Yeah, I think he gives you a guard that can score, that has position versatility, can run the point if you need, but also can play that 2 guard. They needed a combo guy that can score there. And he's a guy that has playing experience as well. Played a lot of games, can shoot the 3. Although his 3-point percentage has gone down throughout his career with greater volume, we'll see. But Tennessee's also been good at getting guys to improve their shots as well when they've been on campus. So there's that development aspect of it too. So I think there's also Julian Phillips at LSU.
Another possibility.
Jordan Reed, a taller player.
He's also visiting Auburn, I think, isn't he?
I'm not sure, but those are a couple of guys that are younger that are former signees.
Yeah, and Tyreke Key, people high school basketball familiar with him from over in Salina. Right. A Clay County legend. I mean, Conzo Martin line. He knows how to score the ball. But the shoulder is what you wonder about, and the surgery. So, I think it's a good get. Fits right in what you think would be a 4-guard lineup.
Well, he's a Clay County legend. I mean, how could it not be a good one? All right, here we go. By the way, while we're talking about Rick Barnes and the portal and NIL has an impact on all these guys transferring in basketball too. That's a topic for another day, the difference between NIL and basketball, NIL and football. But Rick Barnes was on the Big Orange Caravan this week and was asked about NIL and the portal, et cetera. Let's run through a couple of his comments. First of all, on the NIL, he said, you're amazed by certainly some of the NIL numbers that are thrown around. It really is quite baffling at times, and some of it I don't think is legit, but you have to get down to what is legit and what's not. And then on transfers, the way it looks now, it looks like every year pretty much you're going to have to reload, because it seems like when you bring recruits on campus, guys decide maybe I need to go somewhere else. We have 13 scholarships that we have to fill, and we've got to put the best team that we can. Put together the best team that we can. It's just a new era in college athletics. Right now, I don't think any of us fully know the impact of what it all is going to be until we go through it a couple of times. Okay. I was texting this week with David Ubben. I don't think he'd mind me saying that. And literally was talking about coaches who, in basketball, who are leaving with this. I mean, Roy Williams said, oh, no, it's not because of this. Yeah, okay. He just up and retires as soon as this comes about. Mike Krzyzewski, a year later, gone. And while I'm texting with David, the news breaks, Jay Wright at Villanova, who's just 60, walking away. You're talking about 3 of the top 5, 6 coaches in college basketball who have all suddenly decided it's time to walk away right at the same time that NIL and the transfer portal have come about. That makes me wonder. Now, a few weeks ago on this show, when Mike Schwartz left, I said, this is a sign that Rick Barnes has no retirement in his plans because he keeps losing assistants who could easily sit here and say, I'm going to be the coach in waiting. I'm going to sit and wait for this to open up. They don't think he's leaving, so they leave. Now I wonder. I don't think he's talking retirement at all. But I do wonder when I look at Williams, Krzyzewski, and Jay Wright say, see ya, if guys like Izzo and Barnes, who've done it one way for 40 years, are now suddenly going to look at it and say, this, I don't need this headache. Thoughts? Is there any, Tennessee finally has a really good basketball coach that doesn't cheat. And
yes, exactly.
And now the rules change to where, will he be one of these older coaches who thinks, I don't want this? It could reinvigorate a guy. It could also drive him away. What do we think about Rick Barnes? Is that a possibility? Am I just being a negative Nelly here for considering that possibility?
Well, I wonder the same thing. Jay Wright really made me wonder this week because he was actually the person I first thought of, okay, he's the next face of college basketball with no Coach K. And with Roy Williams leaving too. We still have Jim Boeheim hanging around, and we've kind of been wondering for years. So eventually some guys do just have to retire. They make that decision.
77.
Yeah. So it makes me more wonder, but if I put myself in their shoes, if I'm in that position and the game is changing and I don't like the way that it's changing, I'm more likely to get out than stay in.
Especially if I've already made more money than I could blow if I wanted.
And accomplish a lot.
Well,
in your Hall of Fame career.
Yeah.
Putting a staff together, assistants that can help manage this, that's really important.
And Jay Wright even gets the ambassador role, right? He gets to stay at Villanova. The former assistant gets to coach. So,
do you wonder about this, though? Is this a concern that other guys are walking away at Barnes?
I think it's a drastic change, and for a coach like Rick Barnes that has a squeaky clean reputation, that he's not going to break rules. He either changes the way he does things to adjust to this, or sooner or later you reach the point to say it's not worth it anymore. I'm not going to deal with that. Or you got to recruit your players every year, and they let a pretty good one get away.
Well, they have their top two assistants are as young as I think Barnes has had them right now, in Gainey and Clark. So I wonder if that's kind of a little bit of a compensation of, hey, they understand the landscape, how to connect with these young kids, what they're looking for, perhaps. But him saying that some of the dollars are not legit, that tells me that he wonders about, how much of this is crossing the line and how much of it is a headache. But I'm with you guys. Even though Jay Wright didn't say it like Roy Williams did, I think it has to impact them. It just takes away just some of their passion and want to for the game and coaching and doing everything that comes with it without putting it specifically on that.
Ryan, you cover recruiting. Is this something? I would think this would be a big deal. If I'm a coach, you're adding to my stress level. You're adding to the work I have to do. You're adding to players' egos in that I can't bring a guy in and make him sit to become a better basketball player. I got to get him on the floor. He's going to leave. That kind of stuff, to me, is a concern. And the Jay Wright thing was a huge red flag, as it was for you. The fact that, whoa, now you got guys. He's younger than Rick Barnes, and he's walking away.
It's something big to adapt to late in someone's career. So I'll say that it's something that I don't think Rick Barnes anytime soon considers that, but I do wonder if 4 or 5 years down the road, if this continues to wear on him and he feels he's beating his head up against a wall trying to get this team over the hump, maybe it gets to the point where he considers that. But I think it's more the thing to me. Maybe I'm cynical. I think it's more about where you are. I think a school like Villanova, they're not going to win the NIL game. A place like Tennessee, maybe the transfer portal and NIL benefits Tennessee more than it hurts them. In most, obviously you lose Huntley Hatfield, but you gain some good players in the trade-off. So I don't know. A coach like Rick Barnes, I tend to think he's more likely to figure it out and deal with it because Tennessee's probably not going to lose as much in the NIL game, to me.
I think he can figure it out. He just signed an extension just a couple weeks ago, by the way. So, it doesn't sound like a guy who's looking to walk away. I just wonder, that was also all that happened, before he lost all these guys in the transfer portal. How many guys has he brought in the portal that we would say is a screaming success at this point?
Yes, short list.
Is there a list?
Is there a list?
No offense to Uros Plavsic or, Victor Bailey was a contributor.
Yeah.
E.J. Anasicki.
They missed the evaluation on Bailey. I think even they would have bit that. So
Jordan Powell. You haven't had
Justin
Powell. I'm so horrible with names. The older I get, the worse I get with names. the more you look at it, though, it's like, all right, he's going to have to up the transfer game. I don't know. I think he's a tremendous coach. I just think it would be Tennessee's luck that the rules change. And you're seeing other coaches his age who are saying, not for me, so long.
Yeah, it's amazing. Jay Wright at age 60 said he lost that edge, even being happy, excited about going to practice. Right. And that's when he knew it's time to go.
All right, up next, Philip Fulmer made some comments this week about portal, NIL. Let's do a little read and react with his comments next on the Sports Source. Come on back.